I thought that because I was so messy and such an artist, there's no way I could be a perfectionist. And one of the biggest challenges in my life is my perfectionism. And learning about ADHD and getting tools for ADHD has helped me release that as it comes up in my experience every day, you know? That's, again, why humor is so important for me.
Welcome back to another episode of ADHD Rewired. Today's guest is Jonathan Kidder. Jonathan Kidder is a kidder through and through, bringing comedy through character as a puppeteer, content creator, and comedian. His big claim to fame is as a puppet character, Busy the Bee in the Netflix Waffles and Mochi?
Mochi. Like ice cream.
Got it. I've always seen that word. I'm like, how do you pronounce that?
You haven't. We need to get.
I actually tried it. I'm like,
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. It's like, it's all right.
I'm gonna have to talk to Mrs. Obama about that.
And it featured Michelle Obama.
Yeah.
The LA gay scene knows him as the club as Miss Phoenix, the ultimate party foul. Poolside Tarot Card reader by Merman Kidder.
Yeah.
And through his party portraits, he calls Kidder-atures.
That's right.
I see what you did there.
You're doing great.
Kidder makes things fun using the power of personification and character to help him keep track of time.
Hello.
So let's get into this. So
if I could turn back time.
I can already tell this is going to be a great interview. All right.
Let's hang. We're at the club. We're chilling at the club. Yeah.
All right.
Pour yourself a glass of wine. I'm going to have a club soda because I'm sober. And let's get into it. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
ADHD Rewired community.
How long have you been sober for?
And the rest of the world. It is January 28th, 2020 is my the date. So that would be, we're almost at 4 years, God willing, as we say.
So you chose right before a pandemic to go sober.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? I feel a pandemic coming on. Let me just get this going real quick.
So what was it that drove you to sobriety?
Oddly enough, ADHD. In hindsight, in retrospect, I didn't know that was such a driving force. I had been diagnosed casually on like a 15-minute call with a psychologist. Or actually, it was a face-to-face, maybe the year before, but like 15 minutes. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess you probably have ADHD. Try these pills, and prescribed me Vyvanse, which helped. I really was like, wow, I can really focus. I feel like doing all the spreadsheets now. But because I was such a heavy marijuana user, my life just kind of spun further out of control faster. And coming into sobriety, in the fall of 2019, and then I finally really stuck to it one day at a time after the 20th of January, 2020, that, coming and learning about being an addict, what that means, hearing other addicts talk about their ADHD issues, their therapists. I got a therapist, and that therapist recommended that I really focus on educating myself about ADHD, not just the brain, but ADHD itself and how people with ADHD do life. And that changed the game for me. And during this educational process, I learned about dopamine and how the brain for us ADHDers is starving for dopamine. No wonder I got hooked on marijuana, which is dopamine. And so many folks in Marijuana Anonymous, which is what they call a home group, which is like the cousin of Alcoholics Anonymous. They're really tight. Anyway, yeah, there's so many folks I've met who also have ADHD, and yeah, this challenge is something I'm glad that I'm bringing awareness to it right now by talking to you. So,
and thank you for doing so, and congratulations on 3 years.
Thanks, I appreciate
sobriety. That's big. It's really big. I know you said you used the phrase "hungry for dopamine." Have you ever seen? I did a couple of years ago a video with Jessica McCabe from How to ADHD, where we created a dopa menu.
Oh, wow.
The idea
That's
of
wonderful.
Pre-plan all the things that are helpful for us or dopamine instead of just, scrolling on the phone or binging the next show on Netflix.
Oh, I love
and
that.
we model it, we break it up into like appetizers and main courses and specials. And
This is great.
yeah, it is great. It's something we actually do about once a year in our alumni sessions where we work on either creating a new dopamine menu or updating our current ones. Because it's, when we need dopamine, we don't want to have to like come up with the ideas at that time. We want to already come up with that and then just pick one.
Totally. And in Driven to Distraction about ADHD, Dr. Ed Hallowell talks about giving things pizzazz, like as a way to be functional, to get executive function online. Put pizzazz into it. And humor for me is a version of pizzazz, right? So to me, that menu thing adds humor, it adds pizzazz, and that is what helps you get to the solution that's going to work for you. I'm all about using humor to get functional.
All right, so let's do that.
We put the fun in functional, guys.
I thought it was we put the fun in dysfunctional, but
that's already there.
So humor as a tool. Like I'm a huge fan of using humor as a tool. I love absurdity, and I love that like you do stuff with puppets because like one of my favorite movies is a movie with puppets. That's the Smoochie.
Yes.
And I just rewatched the second time, and I don't know what was happening the first time. I just remember liking it, but I didn't actually remember much from it. But the movie, the Happy Time Murders.
Oh, that's right.
That was I'm like. It was awesome. Like, it was so funny. Like, absurd.
Everybody loves puppets.
Right? Like, especially puppets that are having sex. I'm like, that's, what's not to love about that?
Yeah. I did a really funny puppet video that's on the internet. I created this in like 2008. So it's been a few years, but it's beautifully shot. It is a music video in which a human and a puppet fall in love, written and directed and produced by myself, but with my friend Lara Everly. She directed it. Anyway, Lara plays the ingenue, and I puppet this character, and my face is in it too. Anyway, it's called Pink Sweat. So I will send you a link to Pink Sweat. Anybody else can go online, just enter Pink Sweat in YouTube or Google, and Pink Sweat Puppets or Pink Sweat Jonathan Kidder. It should pop right up. It's a good time.
I love that.
Yeah, all raunchy puppets.
How are you using humor to address issues like time blindness?
The first part of time blindness that's difficult for me is just remembering what day it is. So I use colors and characters for each day of the week.
Okay.
And I also physicalize based on this like motif that I've devised for myself. I have different things that I can do to physicalize that. So it's an all-encompassing system.
And when you say physicalize, what do you mean?
So like, I put on a different color underwear every day based on the color of the day and let's get into it. The character, who is also based on an element, who's also based on a chakra. So let's just start with to me, the like overarching humorous point to it all, because this is all pretty nutty, is you got ADHD, bitch. So that's my mantra. That's what I say to myself. Bitch, you got ADHD. Like, I start looking at what I'm doing. I'm like, why do I care what color underwear I'm putting on today? Like, it doesn't like what day is it? Is it Unicorn Friday or is it Wings Out Wednesday, which is fairy vibes? Or wait, no, is it the Merman Day? Is it Thursday? Is it Throat Chakra Thursday, which is mermaid? No, hold on a minute. Like, why do I care? I don't care. It doesn't matter. This is ridiculous. I am an adult. I need to. It's like, you got ADHD, bitch. Use your tools. Use your kooky colors and your characters and your fun. And what day is it? Actually, you know what? I don't remember. So I'll look. And now all day long, I'll remember that it is actually, what day is today? Today's Tuesday.
And when you say you look, like, do you look down and see what kind of underwear you're wearing to know what day it is?
It's going to be reflected in my dress as well.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's not so hardcore like that, but I can feel what underwear I'm wearing. You know what I mean? They all ride a little differently. They all ride a little differently, guys. Okay. So, now we're just get ready, because this is going to be a gay romp, a gay zany romp into my life.
Okay. We are we're going to queer this episode to the finest degree possible.
If you're wearing a jock strap, it just sits different. That's like a very Tuesday situation for me.
I was thinking of like 4 different puns around like something like holding that thought, like holding.
I like hold that thought. That's really good.
Yeah.
So twos slay. Tuesday to slay. By
Okay.
the way, the color thing started with the colors of the gay flag.
Okay.
Okay. And, ADHDers, we deal with a lot of shame. Toxic shame is a topic that we talk about. And folks in the LGBTQIA plus community, folks who are on the queer spectrum, gay, cis men like myself, we also deal with shame. Okay. And when you've got both going on, it's like, wait, what? So embracing the gay colloquialisms is part of my thing. And that also has been part of my journey, is like finding ways to embrace the parts of myself that I love, that are important to me, that are authentic,
Hmm.
but that one aspect of my psyche, my inner critic, or my inner homophobe
Mm.
wants to just kick out. It's like, okay, got it. Well, you know what? How about this? Every day of the week is a different color of the gay pride flag. So there, it started that way. It's kind of changed and morphed over the years. This started before I learned about ADHD, by the way. And another thing that's so interesting, and I love about the community, about my fellow ADHDers, and for those of you who are listening, I'm talking to you, the ways in which we figure out what works for us without even knowing what our issues are. Like, we are so creative. I was speaking with somebody just the other day at an event that I was a Christmas carol singing merman at. That's one of my things, is doing events as characters. Anyway, the Christmas merman was hanging out at a gay fundraiser for a gay film series. Anyway, and this gentleman and I were talking about ADHD, and he has devised a whole system to help him remember things and keep track of dates that he invented before he was even diagnosed.
Mm.
So, I really kind of reaching out to those of you who have that going on in your life in some way or another. And like, kudos to you, because that takes a lot of energy.
It's that whole idea of like to really thrive when you have ADHD. One, you can't do life on autopilot, right?
Nope.
And it's the idea that like keep experimenting, keep trying
Mm,
until you figure out what works, and it'll work for a while. And then you're gonna have to start
there you go.
experimenting some more because
Totally.
those expiration dates on all those great strategies, they seem to just kind of pop up, and they're like, why haven't I looked at my shit for a while?
Yeah. And it's not just like doing funny things, like I'll make a funny system. It's just not taking myself too seriously. It's like when I say humor, just keeping it light, being gentle with myself. Like, humor just lightens things up. Humor, the root of the word humor is humus, which means earth, which is the same root as the word human, right? We're of the earth. And there's a sense of mortality with that. Humor really is, from my perspective, humor is about embracing the stuff that we don't like to embrace. It's painful, that's difficult to embrace. It's difficult to be with. It's difficult to acknowledge. That's one of the reasons why we laugh. We often laugh because we're uncomfortable. There's discomfort, and it's the release. When we're together and we laugh together, we hear other people laughing, and it gives us a sense of, oh, who else is on my wavelength? It creates community, connectedness, which is like the vitamin C connection of ADHD. So humor to me is very powerful, and it's not just about like keeping it fun, but letting go of that sort of narcissistic idea that we're never going to die. So, and perfectionism, the enemy of humor, because you can't have
Mm.
humor in a perfectionistic environment. Humor is about imperfection and change and being present. Perfection and perfectionism is, you can't have perfection and change. The ultimate perfectionism, right? The ultimate of perfection is death, because that is stasis.
Mm.
It's never going to change. Yeah, there's a really brilliant metaphysical teacher from the late 70s and 80s named Marion Woodman, and she wrote a book called Addiction to Perfection. And I recommend the Audible version of that, which is actually a workshop about the book, but it's better than the book. Anyway, she talks about that, and she talks about how corrosive perfectionism is. And I didn't know that I was a perfectionist.
Mm.
I thought that because I was so messy and such an artist, there's no way I could be a perfectionist. And one of the biggest challenges in my life is my perfectionism. And learning about ADHD and getting tools for ADHD has helped me release that as it comes up in my experience every day. That's again why humor is so important for me.
So what are some of the ways that you've addressed some of your perfectionism through humor and other
Oh my gosh,
strategies?
this is fun. Okay. And this is like, I feel like y'all who are listening, watching, like this, you're going to play along. Okay. So I like to name the different aspects of my consciousness, of my being. If you're into therapy, you've probably heard of internal family systems or inner family systems, the work of Dr. Jason Schwartzman. The movie Inside Out is based on that. Okay. Anyway, but you've heard of your inner child, right? So I have an inner perfectionist, and her name is Perfecta. Basically drag. I basically use drag to help me deal with my inner critic. And sometimes Perfecta, we need her. And she's not leaving the team. She's one of my parts, as they say in inner family systems therapy, parts therapy. She's one of my parts. She's a part of me. She's not going anywhere, but we can give her a job that's better. Sometimes you really need the perfectionist to show up, and my perfectionism can really make my work shine. However, not when I'm trying to get ready for this podcast. Look at my makeup. What am I wearing on my face? I've got makeup caked all over my face. It's like, dude, you need to get, Eric is going to be waiting for you if you don't sit down and turn your light on, which of course I have a ring light. Perfectionism, perfecta. And what I can do when I notice that happening is I can be like, okay, bitch, perfecta. It's my own thoughts. It's like, oh my God, I need to do this and I need to do that and I need to perfecta. And I'll take a deep breath, and you can take a deep breath with me if you want, into my nose. 1, 2, 3. And there's so much self-love. There's so much love in that breath and that willingness to just take a moment. And then it's like, girl, hold on. You know what? It's not that important. It doesn't matter. I'll go back to my intention. What am I really here to do? I'm here to support Eric in his intention to support this whole community of people. I can really just be with him and let him take the lead. This isn't an audition. I'm not trying to book a commercial. If people see a pimple on my face, that's not going to hinder Eric's mission or mine to shine my light and share. You know what I mean? So
especially, Jonathan, since this is a podcast, and I don't think anyone's going to see
everyone.
us.
I only watch podcasts, by the way. I never listen to podcasts. I listen to books. So to me, maybe how have you read that book? In my head, I'm like, you mean that podcast? A book is a podcast, and a podcast is a video. Because I want to see who's talking.
I gotcha.
I love character. I'm like, who is this voice? What face belongs to this voice is what I want.
I think I told you my recurring idea that I've had about creating a video podcast using puppets, where it's serious conversations, but using puppets.
No, I'm waiting for you. I'm ready. I'm ready right now. This puppet this is a donkey. He's from Folkmanis, which I wanted you guys to see this. If you're not watching, go to folkmanis.com. It's one of my favorite companies. They're not a sponsor, but they have great characters. And so anyway.
I've always wanted to
what are we talking about?
I've always wanted to just have a nice long conversation with an ass.
Well, this is your time. Hey guys.
Oh my God, this needs to be a video podcast now.
I'm here for you, Eric.
So we're gonna take a really quick break, and when we come back, I just gotta regroup here, and because my brain,
collect yourself.
My brain went from the normal 10 thoughts at a time to 100 possibilities of where we can go while talking to an ass.
Let's get organized.
We will be right back. Support for this podcast comes from our coaching community and our intensive award-winning coaching and accountability groups. We meet 3 times a week for 10 weeks with daily accountability. Learn more and get on our spring interest list at coachingrewired.com. We just started our 35th season of coaching, and we're really excited to see what's in store for our newest members during this winter season. Are you wondering if coaching is a right fit for you? What about group coaching? What if you could work alongside other adults with ADHD to develop the skills and strategies to reduce feelings of overwhelm and take control of your life? And on those days where the ADHD wins, what if you could have a team that will be there for you to help you figure out what you need to do to get a fresh start on tomorrow? Here at ADHD Rewired, we empower our members by creating a safe and supportive environment that's shame-free and judgment-free. While we do provide tools for learning how to better manage our calendars, build ADHD-friendly routines, and create actionable to-do lists to achieve our goals, we also believe that ADHD management is so much more than just about tools. For example, with our plans and our to-dos, it's not just about writing them down. It's about creating awareness around where our time is actually going and being spent and how our environments can affect every step. Once we gain time wisdom, that's when it becomes easier to manage our energy, budget our time, and set better boundaries so that we can engage in the things that truly matter to us. It's also about having a supportive community behind us to cheer us on and point out our strengths that we have, especially when we are feeling stuck. If this sounds like the group that you've been looking for, go to coachingrewired.com and get your name added to our spring interest list so you can stay up to date for when our spring registration kickoff events will be. Growth happens here at coachingrewired.com. All right, we are back now.
We're back.
Jonathan has, I think, taken his hand out of the ass.
I have. And I brought this for you. I was like, I feel like the ass is the way to go. I feel like Eric is a comedian. He's gonna want to make puns. Like, let's bring the ass out here. This is the ass puppet from Spokemanus Puppets. Hello.
So, where do you find that balance between, managing your ADHD and making a full ass out of yourself? Or is it just something that you just don't even care?
Well, that's, we were just talking about my inner voice, my inner perfectionism, which I call perfecta, and personifying, giving names to the different aspects of consciousness. I knew that was going to fall. Something just fell behind me. Anyway, I want to pull that prop into this conversation eventually. So, like, making an ass of myself, right? It's something that I think I became a comedian and a comedy-oriented person because of not being able to do life like everybody else. I remember it coming out really strong in math class, like always making jokes and never being able to get the answers correct. But that same kind of mental energy of like trying to figure a math equation out and being in that space as you are in a math class, but then figuring my teacher out. Like, how can I make her laugh? And like, it worked. I think I got better grades because my teachers just liked me. And I had a very mature, people called me an old soul when I was a kid. So, those kids who were just sassy and precocious, but very, very witty and what is the word? They see things. I know. Where to go?
Perceptive.
Thank you. Perceptive. Ding, ding, ding. 5 points for Eric. Very perceptive. That kid, you're not going to flunk that kid. You know what I mean? Throw him a bone. Throw that gay little kid a bone. Help him get through geometry class. So being an ass of myself, but I'm not always able to make the funny. I'm not always able to make everybody laugh at me. Sometimes it does happen to me and people are laughing at me, or I'm just failing and thinking that people are laughing at me. Being embarrassed is the most difficult feeling in my body to tolerate. Like, I know where it lives in my stomach. It lives in my gut, right? My solar plexus. And it just, that feeling, or also in my heart, it'll just shut me down. And being an ass, making an ass of myself, overcoming perfectionism looks like letting go and just accepting that I am an ass and that we're all asses. Nobody doesn't have an ass. It's just what's happening.
I'm just thinking of that movie from Spaceballs, surrounded by assholes.
Thank you, Mel Brooks.
Do you think that part of that, though, is, well, if I beat other people to the punch to sort of laugh at myself, then I won't be humiliated?
100%. 100%. It's control. So it's dominance. And it has to do, in my awareness, and at least for myself, it has to do with managing their emotions. And I believe, besides being a comedian and a character actor and a character designer and developer, I'm a mystic. I'm very, very mystical. I've always had a mystical perspective. I've done a lot of professional work as a psychic. I've done like all sorts of stuff. I've chosen not to really anchor into that work professionally, but it's part of how I see the world and my worldview. So I believe that we are very, very sensitive. All human beings. That we are electromagnetic beings. Everything's vibrational. We're vibrational, and so when somebody has a negative energy or has a negative perspective of you, or is just negative when they're around you, you can feel it on a very deep level, and you can feel it in your body. You can feel it in your chakra system, which is the prop that I had that fell. So it's real. The pain is real.
Probably because the vibrations of talking about chakras and ADHD rewired, it just reverberated throughout like the world, because I don't think we've ever talked about chakras.
Yeah. Okay. So here's my chakra prop. This is a plate, one of those plastic plates from the dollar store, but it looks so fancy. This is a cutout that I made of myself. And then these are the chakras with craft baubles. Anyway, so if you don't know what we're talking about, the chakra system comes from the Hinduism, and it is been westernized and embraced by Western culture. So if you go to a yoga class, you'll hear people talking about it. It also has very physiological aspects to it. So when you talk about your solar plexus, which is your third chakra, right? That is also something you can talk about in a scientific conversation. So understanding the chakras has been something I've been passionate about over the years, and learning about ADHD, I finally understand why. And somehow this is all going to go back to time and time blindness. The T on time blindness is, how can I make time physical? How can I make it around me? And how can I make it something I can touch? And that's where the chakra system comes in. So we start with, it's Tuesday. Today is Tuesday. We're recording this. The second chakra is the sacral chakra. And it is in Western yoga, it's associated with the color orange. So now I have a whole thing about how Tuesday is orange. The word Tuesday comes from the god of war, Mars, especially in Spanish, Martes. So there's an energy around that. There's the energy of the second chakra and what that's about. And it's just enough for me to chew on all day and obsess about, And then I have mythological characters. So in yoga, in Vedic, Hinduism and in yoga, there's different gods and goddesses associated with the chakras and animals. And so I've made my own version for me, not to like appropriate culture, but to take something that I believe is universal, as is time, and have it connect with me and my ADHD brain. So I'm wearing more orange underwear right now. And I'm putting on my underwear in the morning. I was like, well, what color underwear? I was like, well, it's Tuesday, bitch. You got ADHD, bitch. It's Tuesday. Put on your orange underwear. Take a deep breath if you want, 1, 2, 3, into your second chakra. And remember that today it's about Mars energy. So don't be afraid of conflict. I'm a very conflict avoidant. At least here's the word for me on Tuesday is boundaries. Like, am I acknowledging the boundaries that people are crossing? Am I aware of my boundaries? Like, remember about boundaries, right? As an empath and as a recovering codependent, another thing I learned about in my sobriety journey, I had no idea what that word meant. Boundaries are a big thing. And especially if you're an ADHDer who is a people pleaser trying to find out what version of person you need me to be so that I can be successful in this situation, whether that means getting paid, going on a second date with you, if you're my parent, getting dinner tonight. It's survival. So boundaries are a major thing for me. So Tuesday is a great day to remember that they exist.
Do you ever think about boundaries in terms of boundaries on your time?
Thank you. Let's bring it back to time, Eric Tivers. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I do. We were talking about addiction earlier, and we were talking about sobriety and marijuana. One of the things I learned about is and dopamine, right? The brain's hungry for dopamine. On the dopamine menu, this should not be, I hope this is not on the dopamine menu, but running late creates urgency. And that energy of urgency just produces that dopamine. Something I learned about here on my journey. And
with a splash of cortisol.
Like a splash of cortisol and then like an extra helping of cortisol on the side. Yeah. Oh, adrenaline for big time.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of, okay, I noticed becoming, I noticed in getting sober what my thoughts did when I wanted to reach out to someone or go and get, I'll say this again. When I took my first steps in getting sober and staying sober, I started to learn about my addict brain. And that's another character. And one of the most effective things on my sobriety journey, and I share about this when I share at 12-step meetings, is naming my addict brain, right?
What's this?
Mr. Addict Brain. It's really, I just call it addict brain. You know, I'm
Okay.
going to be honest with you. I don't have a fancy name for that one. My codependent voice is Coco. My perfectionist voice is Perfecta. But my addict brain is just, hey, addict
Oh, I
brain.
love that,
So,
Coco.
yeah. So the addict brain is like, I notice how my brain will do things and create thoughts and cravings that don't seem to be related to the drug of choice, but kind of steer me in that direction. And I noticed that it was doing that after being sober for months, doing that with being late. Like, I know I need to leave. I know when I need to leave. I'm ready to leave. Why aren't I leaving? And I'm like, my brain is trying to get something right now. Like, my cravings are taking over. My addict brain is involved in this. And I started to learn about the way that running late creates urgency, creates dopamine, creates adrenaline. So back to boundaries. Boundaries with yourself is a huge topic. And recognizing that this is my addict brain taking over, trying to make me late right now. It honestly just makes it all smaller. Like, takes that adrenaline that's already making me go, oh, what's going on? I can't leave. Why can't I leave? I need to leave. I don't know what's going on. It takes that whole conversation. I was like, oh, I get it. You got ADHD, bitch. Your brain's hungry for adrenaline. Well, we're not going to do that right now. And then I'll take a breath. That's one of my main tools, is just taking a breath. Ooh. And then it's like, okay, do I really need to pack another bag full of extra clothes? Or is the one that's already in the car from yesterday when I didn't unpack it fine? Like, you know what? It is. And if I go back into my room, I probably won't come out for another 20 minutes. And I was supposed to leave 5 minutes ago. So I'm going to leave. And I'm just be like, okay. And in that conversation with myself, when I'm chilling out, I'm already starting to move out the door. It's like the other part of my consciousness that knows it's time to get in the car. It's like taking over, you know?
You mentioned about externalizing time. Are there strategies that you have created in your environment to specifically help you with when you know it's the time you got to go, but you're your addict brain
Yeah.
was saying, yeah, we'll wait a few more minutes.
Yep.
What strategies have
And
you
my
come up
addict brain, I
with?
wish my addict brain said, well, wait a few more minutes. My addict brain says, we're totally leaving right now. We are leaving. This is what leaving looks like. Leaving looks like you running back into your closet and just getting a different shirt. That's what leaving is, you know? Anyway,
It sounds like
what are some
I'm
strategies?
guessing one of
Go ahead.
his favorite lines is just one more.
Oh, yeah. Just one more?
Yeah.
Exactly. What's
But
that commercial?
I don't know, but if I had a
The
dime
commercial.
for every time
Yeah.
I said just one more, just
Oh,
five more minutes, like I'd be a rich man.
welcome to Addict World. Hello. Okay, so making time external for me. What is crucial, and I'm not wearing it right now, which is, like I said, I was rushing to get onto the Zoom call. I was like, "Where's your watch, Kidder?" Again, I could beat myself up about that. That's perfecta, right? Like, where is your watch? You know you need a watch. You're on an ADHD podcast, and I'm like, why are you wearing a watch? It's like, girl, I have ADHD, honey, but thank you for sharing. So that's crucial. Like, always having a watch on. That really does it for me, big time. Having clocks where I can see them, having too many clocks.
Me too.
Like, why do you have so many? Why do you have so many clocks? Because I have ADHD, bitch. And then this is my timer. I have a few timers. I have a cute little one, the time timer,
Uh-huh.
that I glued eyes onto.
Nice.
But I didn't have enough time to get out of my car. It's in my car because I was doing a gig at an event recently, drawing Kidder-atures, these quick draw caricatures that people love that I do at parties. And I bring him with me so I I do them quickly. Anyway, but I also have a big version. This is Big Mama.
That is like the most ginormous time timer.
What I'm gonna do to her, and you got to check back, guys, is she's gonna get these. I have these beautiful big sunglasses, like girly, like pointy sunglasses. This is Big Mama, and she
I mean,
tells
that's
me
not
that
the
we have
12-inch.
5
That's
more
what is
minutes.
that? Like the 24-inch version of the time timer?
She's a large time timer.
Okay.
And what is great about her is two things. Thank you. She helps me by just being huge. You can put her in the back, like on a phone call or whatever. You can put her out there where nobody can really see her, and you can see her. And then just even though I'm not using her, just the fact that this big ass timer is sitting around, it's like, oh yeah, time. Just
So,
remembering that time exists and is a thing.
so it sounds like with time, Jonathan, you're very much of a size queen.
That's exactly. I'm not going to deny it. I'm not going to deny it.
I'm also not going to deny that we need to take a quick break.
Okay.
But we will be right back.
On that note.
So you know that part of the show where I make kind of a fake parody ad? So this is where that would go. But this time it's going to be for an ad that doesn't actually exist. Just because I'm on the struggle bus right now and I'm just not feeling it at this very moment. But you know what does exist? Just the awesomeness of this ADHD community. I just want y'all to know I really do love you and appreciate all of you so much. If you want to connect with us, you want real support, come check out the website, ADHDrewired.com, to see what we have going on. You can join our coaching groups, our co-working community, our Facebook community, Patreon. I'm probably forgetting something because I'm recording this when my meds have worn off. So, yeah, that's the real support. No fake ad this week. We'll come back with one next week. Hey, and if you have any ideas, because I'm sure that there are some of you listening that when you hear those fake ads, like, oh, here's an idea. Hey, shoot it to me. I'll give you credit for it. All right. You can send that to support@ADHDrewired.com. I just put in the subject line, fake ad. All right. Now back on with the show. And we're back. All right, so we're here at the third half of the show, and so we were talking about the different tools using humor, absurdity to tackle things like time blindness. So, what are some of the other things that you've set up in your life where you are managing your ADHD, so your ADHD isn't managing you?
Yeah. I'm going to walk you through my little system for every day of the week. And I'm just going to walk y'all through it, mostly because it's useful, but also because it's fun and I'm proud of it. So here's my chakra man. Okay. Chakra person. So there's 7 major chakras, right? There happen to be 7 sort of major colors of the rainbow. The original gay flag is 7 colors. So we've got, here we are. Now, we're going to do a chakra for every day of the week. The challenge, buckle up, everybody. The challenge is the chakras are based on elements. Okay, earth, fire, water. So I'm going to walk you through my week, my chakra week. It's going to be way more information than anyone's ready for. The mystics, the psychics, the astrology, the tarot kids, y'all going to be right there with it. The yoga people, you're going to be obsessed with this. And for those of you who have no idea what that is, then you just
I swear I'm not breaking out in a rash as we're talking about like mysticism and astrology.
Yeah, you're actually getting a little flushed over there already. I was going to call him out for the third half. The third half, guys. I didn't call him out after about the third half.
I'm holding space. I'm holding space for other perspectives.
The third. So let's start with okay. So by the way, how I do my week is also part of how I manage my ADHD, because the world does it 2 ways. Some people start the week on Monday, and some people start the week, like calendars, a lot of them start the week on Sunday. So I used to always start my week on Monday because that felt better to me. Now I do it on Sunday, but that's part of it. My main gift to y'all as a tool is do what works for you. And you don't need to, as I have proven to myself that I don't need to think I can only do it the way it's supposed to be done. That in order for me to be successful and show up for this world, for this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful neurodivergent and neurotypical world, the best way for me to show up for my neurotypical people is to get my shit worked out. Okay, so my week starts on Sunday, and I call it Solar Plexus Sunday, and I focus on the 3rd chakra, which connects with the element fire, and it's the sun, the day of the sun, right? So you can put your hand on your Third chakra, it's just right above your belly button. We're going to take a deep breath into your fire center, 1, 2, 3. That also happens to be your center of self-esteem. So self-esteem Sunday, solar plexus Sunday. Now we're getting integrated with some qualities, with some things that are going to inspire me for the day. I'm not doing affirmations because I don't really do that. I have mantras that I'll just sort of keep with myself, but can't do different affirmations every day like people in this kind of world often talk about. So it's solar plexus Sunday. That's great. Or I'll just call it Sun Gay. That'll get me there. Okay, so Sun Gay, right? Solar plexus Sunday, self-esteem Sunday. Now, Monday, the day of the moon, right? Which of the chakras connects, would you say is like the highest chakra, the chakra that's up above your head? It's the crown chakra, okay? So here's the crown chakra.
I actually knew what that one was called.
I should have let you take it.
And,
Want to do it again?
And sure.
Okay, so which of these energy centers would you say connects with what's above you?
Jonathan, is it the crown chakra?
Ding, ding, ding. That's 2 points for Eric Tibbers. Correct, the crown chakra. So even when I say crown chakra, and again, I'm a mystic, right? I can feel my head like tingle a little bit.
Well, it's funny. The reason I actually know the name of the crown chakra. So right before our COVID, kicked in and everyone had to stay home, I was going to my community. They had this group meditations, and I was going to them, and they had these sound baths. Now, mind you, like I'm trying to sort of expand and be open to different experiences, and I'm like walking in, like admittedly rolling my eyes at how like hokey this all felt. So they're doing this. They have these big like crystal bowls that they're making these like sounds with, right? And you know, it's someone who really is into sound and soundscape and all that. Like, it was interesting. And so we're doing this meditation, and the facilitator is ringing this certain bell, and it's like from a sort of sensory experience, it was very bizarre because I wasn't hearing the sound. It was coming from inside of my head. When I went, so afterwards I talked to the facilitator. I was like, this is the strangest sensation. Like, it literally felt like the sound wasn't outside of me. It was right in my head. And she just says, well, that makes perfect sense because this one's tuned to the crown chakra. And I was like, well, what? Like,
listen.
So there's a skeptic part of me. I'm just like, bitch, please, come on. And then there's like, well, experience is experience. And that's what I experienced.
Oh, and here's the thing about the energy centers, the chakras. They're in our language. They're part of our everyday language. And if that's true, then wait a minute, then there must be something to it. For example, when somebody breaks up with someone or gets broken up with, what do they say? What's the phrase for that?
I didn't follow you on that.
Okay, so we're gonna do a quick quiz to see how the ideas of chakras are in our everyday life. If somebody breaks up with you, you would say you had your what broken?
Heart broken.
Thank you. Why? Okay, so is that just a colloquialism, or have you ever felt pain in your heart from an emotional?
Absolutely.
And you're saying it like it's like it's no big deal, but why would that be? Why? Well, just consider that that's an energy center. I'm not trying to be all woo-woo. Like I prefer to stay as skeptical as possible, as much as possible. The challenge for me is my life is I'm just so in tune with spiritual stuff that it's harder to go through life denying it than it is considering it. And okay, we're going to get back on track, back to the days of the week. But you were right when you said heart chakra, crown chakra. I'm not surprised that you had that experience. And I just believe that this shit is normal. This is part of life. It is an everyday part of life. We're all cell phones walking around. Everybody's psychic. That's part of what it is to be human. Our cell phones frequency gets stronger when we're holding them because the force field of our bodies amplifies the signal. We are electromagnetic, right? So it seems kooky and hokey and funky and everything at the crystal shop, but I'm not always trying to be at the crystal shop myself.
And just for the sake of science, I have no idea if what Jonathan just said is true, but I'm letting Jonathan share his story.
Yeah, let Jonathan share his, okay. Crown chakra. Okay, so Monday. And then in case you want to cut any of that out, I'm just going to go back to the Monday thing, the crown chakra. Yes, Eric, you are right. The crown chakra, and here it is represented on my. I think you put your hand on the top of your head and take a deep breath. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, and so sometimes when you think about your crown chakra, which is your it's associated with the pineal gland, you can kind of feel a little tingle there. So I call this moons over my Monday. There's a moon. I just imagine there's a moon above me, above my head, because it's Monday, the day of the moon. That's what Monday's about for me, is that connection with the crown chakra. I could use that connection with higher self, higher intelligence on Monday. I don't know about you. Yeah, so that's Monday. Lavender, it's associated with the color lavender in Western yoga practice. Monday. Tuesday, to slay. Now we're down at the second chakra. The element of the second chakra is water. So this is a sexy day. Okay, that's just the sex chakra. It's the chakra of creativity. It's a very cool chakra, and it's associated with the planet Mars. So I'm just getting my, we're going to keep going because we could talk about the sacral chakra all day. Tuesday. Wednesday, now we're here at the heart chakra. And if you ever have been broken up with, you know what heartbreak feels like. There's a reason. This is an energy center. So put your hand on your heart. This is probably the most powerful chakra if you're new to this stuff. Deep breath, 1, 2, 3. Whew. Yeah. This chakra is, this is where our lungs are. And taking a deep breath is a big deal, especially for us neurodivergents. It is said that the heart center is the center of your energetic being. But I'm not here to talk about the chakras. I'm here to tell you how I use cool stuff that makes me laugh and inspires me to help me remember that it's Wednesday. So I call this Wings Out Wednesday. The element is air. That's fairy vibes. So I open my energetic wings, fairy vibes, airy fairy vibes on Wednesday. By the way, Tuesday, Tuesday, that's about like the werewolf or the satyr. You could also put a satyr down there, like the goat Okay, so the crown chakra, that's angel. It's an angelic creature. Thursday, throat chakra Thursday, that's merman energy. That's your voice, right? We all know the Little Mermaid, the story of the Little Mermaid, and her voice. I imagine like I'm in the water and the surface of the water is right at my throat. Communicating is very hard for me. Saying what I do and don't want is very hard for me. So throat chakra Thursday is a thing. And it is always helpful when I get to Thursday to remember where we are, because it starts to feel like the weekend to me. It's like, no, honey, it's Thursday. Then we have Third Eye Friday, which is crown, pardon me. Then we have Third Eye Friday, which is third eye energy, Third Eye Friday. This is unicorn vibes. I imagine having unicorn horns, shooting out of my head. The energy, the element of the third eye chakra is light. So on Friday, I'm like trying to look at the beauty in the world and be present to the color and the vividness and the beauty in other people. Thursday is not only about talking and self-expression, it's also about listening. And for us ADHDers, if they're not getting to the point, it's like, really? So that's a day to open my ears up. And did I get I think we did it all on Saturday. We'll round it out with Saturday. The root chakra, that's how we end the week. And that's important for me as an ADHD guy, not letting my ADHD control me, but me managing my ADHD. It's like, honey, it is Saturday. This is the last day of the week. Things I haven't done, people I haven't called. Now we're going back to the earth. Okay, what does your body make down there, right? And it puts it in the earth. Humus, humor, being human. And I call it Resetter Day. Like we are going to reset. And if anything that I didn't reset.
Resetter Day. I like that.
Resetter Day. Anything that I didn't reset, if I didn't do my laundry, I'm supposed to do it on Saturday. If I didn't do my laundry on Saturday, I don't worry about it all week long. I'm like, well, I'm going to try to do it next Saturday. And the reason I don't have any clean clothes is because I didn't do my laundry on Saturday. I made a mistake once. I'm not making a mistake over and over every day. It just, honestly, this just kind of organizes me. And one thing about ADHD I've learned is we like things that organize us. So all this to say, I've been doing this for years. This got me through the pandemic. When every day kind of rolled into another one, I was like, no, honey, it's Mermaid Day. Sing a song. You're a siren. Wear turquoise underwear.
So let me ask you this then. So it sounds like you're using a lot of these connected ideas to sort of theme your days.
Theming. Thank you. That's really what this is.
So you're a creative. You're an actor. You do stuff where I imagine you have to remember lines.
Oh yeah.
How do you do that?
To help me remember lines, I use humor and visual imagery. I take a script and I draw pictures of all the words. And I make the pictures flow into the next picture, and I make them as silly and as sexual as possible.
That is the key for remembering anything. Like the more sexual, absurd, even like inappropriate you can make it, the more it sticks. Like I discovered that I think even before I learned that ADHD, that like I got to make some raunchy acronym to remember this thing, and then I'm good.
It works. And the other thing is, I'm in control. I get to say what the word how reminds me of. For whatever reason, the word how is an owl. It's not who, it's how. But let's just use the word who. If the word in the script is who, then an owl gives you who. So I'll draw an owl. And that's me, that's for mine. That's nobody else is doing this with me. There's some ownership in doing something that works for me my way. And linking the words together, making it silly. And then when I'm in the scene, I can visualize those words as pictures. I can visualize pictures. I can't visualize actual words like people with photographic memories can. And the drawings that I'll do are almost like representations of sort of mental pictures that are happening when I'm interacting with the words, looking at them. And so it's almost like a video game that's playing in front of me in my mind of these funny pictures. And then the ones that when I step away from the script and away from my drawings and try to remember them. And then there's some that I'll forget, and I'll go back and look at what those are. And then I'll really like make that even funnier or weirder. And then it's like I have a relationship with the words and with the script. So now I'm introducing not only a theme, but a relationship. And that's why character is so impactful for me. Like, I feel like I have a relationship with Wednesday. Like, Wednesday is this fabulous fairy, this divine motherly fairy who's unconditionally loving. And that's who I get to hang out with on Wednesday. On Friday, I hang out with this magical gay unicorn who is an interior decorator. If I need to make something cute in my apartment, I will wait until Friday and do it with the unicorn.
I bet that helps with just some maybe like decision fatigue about when to do things.
It is tremendously helpful. Yeah. And I got this shelf. I've just moved recently, so I haven't activated this shelf yet. But it has 7 cubby holes. And each cubby hole is going to be a different day of the week with the colors and the ideas and the concepts. And I'm hoping to produce content where I walk people through it, because I want to share these ideas. And I've done it in the past, but back in the day, before I knew I had ADHD, before I was taking my problems seriously, let's put it that way. Before I was taking my problems seriously, I was trying to share these creative ideas, and I had so many issues. Now I've gotten a lot of those issues managed, and I'm now just finally really starting to put this stuff together so that I can monetize it, so that I can share it through my social media platforms. And now that's something I'm struggling with. But now you know what that shelf is about.
I love that your initials are JK. I mean, it just kind of seems too perfect for you.
I was trying to art direct this moment, and I was like, okay, well, we have this was hanging here. And then I was like, I feel like the JK goes there.
It works. Kidding. It works. It absolutely
and the funny thing about my name, here's another ADHD thing, is like identity. There's the masking and everything. And connecting with the idea, I am a humorous person, and I've always enjoyed humor. But again, I have that mystical side. It helped me embrace my name, to just choose that for me, it means fun. And that's what that means to me. And it helped me kind of own my identity more. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah.
I think we're out of time here. I know that when we were talking earlier before we hit record, you were talking a little bit about trying to figure out how to focus on, you were getting these freelance gigs, and you're like, you want to stop doing that so you can start focusing on some other stuff. And we talked about maybe talking about that on the podcast, but we ran out of time. So that means if you want to hear the rest of this conversation that we're going to continue for the next about 15 minutes, join us on Patreon, because we're going to include the rest of this conversation for our patrons. So for everyone else, You've been listening to Jonathan Kidder. Thank you. The website to find all things Jonathan Kidder is kidderco.com.
And Instagram.
Yep.
JW Kidder. Kidder.
And we will link all of that to the show notes. And hey, and if you would also send me a picture, or let me actually screenshot right now you holding your little chakra plate here, and we'll include that in the show notes. And all. Could you do the chakra and the donkey?
Of course.
Because
and for those of you,
we're making album art right now.
Oh yeah, we're making album art. For those of you who are like interested in coming over to Instagram, I'm working on putting all this stuff that I'm talking about today, really focusing on that on my Instagram and on social media. So come meet Merman Kidder, come hang out, send me a message, let me know that this is where you met me, and we can gossip about Eric together.
Fabulous. This was so much fun. Thank you, and we will continue the conversation here in just a moment.
Did you get your screenshot yet?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Bye.
And that, my friends, is a wrap for today. A big thank you to Jonathan for joining me today. Hey, how do you use humor as a tool? Let us know in our Facebook community or on our fan page. And if you are not a part of our Facebook community yet, head on over to ADHDrewired.com and click on the community tab at the top of the page where you can apply to join. That's right, it's a free and secret group. And there's tons of fun discussions about other topics happening over there too. Hey, do you love the podcast and find value in the show and want to support our work? Head on over to ADHDrewired.com/Patreon, where you can get this show uninterrupted with the announcements like this one at the very end for just $5 a month or more. Think you'd benefit from coaching around an ADHD-related issue and want a taste of group coaching? Maybe you have one specific challenge that you would like to pick my brain around? You can do that if you are a patron, starting at $25 a month. You can join me every fourth Tuesday of the month at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 Eastern. And how does boosting your productivity and tackling your toughest projects and to-dos with guided co-working sessions and accountability sound? What about real-time, around-the-clock body doubling and ADHD-friendly co-working? You can get started in our Adult Study Hall co-working community at adultstudyhall.com. Try it free for the first week, and it's only $19.99 a month after that. Find everything from our coaching groups, our free Facebook community, Adult Study Hall, Patreon events, announcements, show notes for this episode, past episodes, and more. All at ADHDrewired.com. Hey, and don't forget to check out our newest podcast, the ADHD Creatives Podcast with Coach Kristen Martz. Go check that out. It is out now. Thanks again to Jonathan for taking the time to chat for this episode. And thank you, dear listener, for making it to the end. And we will see you next week.